What's going on, everybody? David here. Today we're talking about the Osmo Action and 5 reasons why I'll be picking it up when it gets released. But first off, on this channel we talk about travel, exploration, and photography. If that sounds like something interesting to you, please hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the little bell icon so you can get future updates on my videos. Okay, so earlier today the Osmo Action was announced and I'm really excited about this camera. And there are 5 main reasons why I definitely will be picking it up as soon as they release it. So the first thing that I'm looking at when it comes to this camera is the image stabilization. So I'm very, very picky in particular about my image stabilization. I got the Osmo Pocket. I really like that camera. The image stabilization is great. The only problem with that image stabilization is it tends to bounce a little bit as you're walking, and you can see it in the footage. So that's something that can be corrected in After Effects if you want to go that far. Warp stabilization, even in Premiere Pro, you can do the same thing. But that's just a little, bothers me a little bit, but you can do smooth pans, and there are a lot of different pans that you can do with that camera that just makes it amazing. Time lapse, motion lapse, all that good stuff. It makes that Osmo Pocket an amazing camera. Now, the Osmo Action with the electronic image stabilization, the rocksteady is what they're calling it. It's really good. It looks good. I've seen the footage, and putting it side by side with the Gopro Hero 7, with the Sony FDR X3000, which this is an amazing camera when it comes to image stabilization, and this has in-body image stabilization. So they have a good thing going with Sony. We'll see what Sony does if they're going to release anything similar to this camera, maybe with some type of LCD screen on it. We'll see if they're going to do that. But with the Osmo Action, the image stabilization looks really good, and that's what's important for me, because when I'm out traveling, I want to be able to get good footage. I want to have footage that I can share on YouTube, share with my family and friends, but I don't want it to be shaky and just unwatchable. So having that image stabilization is something that's really important, and I'm able to vlog with the camera. With this camera, it looks like you'll be able to vlog, so that'll be good as well. Okay, so talking about vlogging, one thing that they did really right just out of the box, I don't even have to have the camera to know this, is that front-facing LCD. So you can compose your shots now, which is an amazing thing. One of the great things that I like about the Osmo Pocket is you can flip that camera around and you can compose yourself in the LCD screen. So the fact that they did the same thing with the Osmo Action really excites me, because now I can do the selfies, the vlogging. I can put it on a bike, and I can be riding the bike and have that shot where it's facing me and I can see myself composed correctly. It's funny, I have this camera here, and there's nothing. There's no screen on this at all. And I used to put it on my bike, and you kind of have to guess, okay, is it in the right direction? Is it facing the right way? Is it facing me? Do I look appealing on camera? And I've had several situations where it's up and then it drops down, and it's not shooting my face at all. My neck is cut off, and it can be really a disaster. But the fact that you have that front-facing LCD, that front-facing screen, you can see yourself when you're doing action activities, or even when you're just walking around blogging. That's going to be a real game changer when it comes to these cameras, because now most cameras, the new action cameras that are coming out, I can't see them not having this. This is going to be something that's really good. So the front-facing camera, that's number 2, and that's going to be a really great addition. Okay, now the third thing that I really like about this camera is the lens. I like the way they designed this lens filter that screws in. That is great, and the main reason why I like that is because it's protecting my lens. And you can buy different ones. You'll be able to switch them out, put ND filters on there, polarizers, all that good stuff. And you don't have to really worry about your lens getting damaged. One of the issues that I have with this Sony FDR X3000 is the fact that it comes like this standard. You have to buy this separate. And this is good, but it just snaps in there and you can lock it into place, but it's not very tight, and it comes off relatively easily. So if I put this in my pocket, usually it just pops off. It doesn't even stay in my pocket. And then if it's in my pocket with this thing on here, it's just a little, it's too big. It just doesn't fit comfortably. So that's one of the issues that I have with the way they designed this. But with the Osmo Action, it's screwed in, so it's not going to just pop off. and it seals, you know, it's waterproof. So once you seal it in, it's in there. So that's great. So I'm really happy about the fact that they did something like that, and it'll allow you to put the filters on and all that good stuff. Can't put filters on this, not at all. So the fact that you can put filters on this is exciting as well. Okay, the fourth thing I want to talk about is the battery. And this might sound a little strange to some people, but you have to understand I'm coming from Sony, okay? And I have Sony cameras right now. I love Sony cameras. The mirrorless cameras are just excellent. However, there was a time when Sony cameras, the mirrorless cameras, really struggled, the smaller cameras. And they struggled for one reason when it came to video. They overheated. And it was a problem. I had the Sony A5100. That camera overheated after like 8 or 9 minutes. And it was just a continuous problem. So it made it not one of the cameras that you would go to shoot a video, because if you were shooting a video over 8 minutes, you know that the camera is going to get hot and overheat. And one of the workarounds when it came to the Sony cameras was having the battery door open and just leaving that battery door open. So what I really like about the Osmo Action is the battery is the bottom of the camera. So now that battery is allowed to cool off, and that will help with overheating. So we shouldn't have those problems when it comes to overheating with that setup. So I think it was just an amazing design. Plus, in the long term, you can make a larger battery. So you can make a battery that protrudes a little bit from the camera, and so you can get longer battery life, as well as it doesn't have a 1/4-20 on it right now, right? If you have a battery that has a little extension on it and has a 1/4-20 on the bottom, that might work, right? So you have the third-party battery companies, and they might come up with something like that and will allow you to have a 1/4-20 even though you don't have a 1/4-20 on there right now. So that battery design, I think it's really good, as well as the battery will get you about 60 minutes of record time in 4K. So that's really good as well. Okay, the last thing that I want to talk about, the number 5, last reason why I definitely will be getting this camera, is because of the price point. So they did an excellent job with the price point. So you have $399 for the GoPro Hero 7. You have $350 for the Osmo Action. So they priced it right. And so now, when you look at both cameras, you have the Osmo Action, newer technology, front-facing screen. They both shoot 4K 60 frames per second. They both have image stabilization. And some would argue the image stabilization with the Osmo Action is better than the image stabilization with the Hero 7. So now you have a camera that's $50 less that's offering more than a camera that is $399 or $50 more. So I just think they knocked it out of the park with the price point. They could have priced it at the same $399, and they probably still would have gotten a lot of people to buy the Osmo Action over the GoPro 7. But they price it lower, and now there's no reason at this point to go with the Hero 7 over the Osmo Action. But more importantly, though, I'd love to know what you guys think. Are you guys going to be picking up the camera when it gets released? Do you see any real issues with the camera? Please post in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.